Hi, my seedy friends. I'm here to talk about seed saving, one of my favorite topics. We're going to talk about peppers and pumpkins and lettuce and beans and flowers. Oh my, well, there's so many things to talk about. First and foremost, seed saving has been done forever. Seed saving is the ultimate way to trade and barter with friends and family. So, anytime you grow something that's an heirloom seed, you should always be saving the seeds. Seeds last for anywhere from 5 to 10 years. Some seeds will last as much as 30 years if kept in the right conditions. So, I don't care what the seed packet says. They always last more than a year, except maybe onions. Onions are a little more finicky. Okay, let's start with peppers. So, what kind of pepper do you want to talk about here? Let me look in the seed library and see what I find. By the way, my name's Brenda. I'm the founder of Western New York Seed Library. Love talking about seeds, love saving seeds, love sharing seeds, love giving seeds away. It's great. So, here's a packet that someone donated. See what that says? It says Sweet Million Hybrid. This is a packet of seeds of peppers. You would not want to save these because it's a hybrid. That doesn't make it genetically modified. That makes it a hybrid. Hybrids are when they take two parents and they mix them together to get a specific plant. So, if you were to save the seeds from these plants, you could, but you're not going to get the exact same thing. You're going to get something a little bit different. Here's another one, an Aruba hybrid pepper. So, what you want is an heirloom pepper plant. Let me look in here. Of course, I should have got one of these out ahead of time, but I didn't. Okay, so I can't find one. I'm sure they're in there, but... So, one that I know off the top of my head is California Wonder. That is a nice big green pepper. You know, most people who have done any cooking at all in the kitchen have seen pepper plants. So, you take out your green pepper, you're getting ready to make dinner, you cut it open, it's loaded with seeds. Take those seeds, put them on a paper plate, label them California Wonder green peppers, leave them there for 2 weeks or longer, not in direct sun, not in a hot area, not near your stove. And you're going to, no barking, Charlie. Sorry. Okay, I'm back. I don't know if you could even tell I was gone. I'm not really like a whiz with the camera or nothing. Okay, so you're going to take your peppers, you're going to cut it open, you're going to take all the seeds, you're going to pull them off that middle hub, set them on a paper plate, label them, and now you'll be able to grow hundreds, just from one pepper, hundreds of pepper plants for next year. So therefore, since you have such a plethora of seeds, it'll be super easy for you to share them with neighbors, share them with friends. You grew sweet peppers, maybe your neighbor grew cayenne peppers. You guys could do a seed swap. Maybe you like mini bell peppers. Maybe you like scorpion hot peppers. Maybe you like chocolate peppers. So you can start doing the whole seed trading once you have plenty of seeds to trade. Okay, so that was peppers. Hopefully that was helpful. Next, we're going to talk about squash or pumpkins. Pumpkins. So, how many people here have ever carved a pumpkin? You know you have. You know you saw the seeds. So, if you're not going to take the seeds, rinse them in a colander, and put them on a cookie sheet with salt, and roast them in your oven to make roasted pumpkin seeds, then you definitely should be putting them in a colander, rinsing them off, putting them on a paper plate, and drying them, and have thousands of pumpkin seeds to give to everybody you know. I mean, heck, you could start dropping them in local parks and grow pumpkins everywhere. Now, you're going to grow pumpkin seeds the same way you grow every other kind of squash. Winter squash. Let me be clear. Winter squash. What do I mean by winter squash? Here's one. This is a Hopi Pale Gray. Oops, sorry. Hopi Pale Gray squash. That's an interesting one. There's a whole bunch of them in here. So, same thing. Winter squash, let me just be clear, means not that you grow it in the winter. It means that it stores well in the winter. So what does winter squash mean? It means you start it in the spring, you grow it all summer, you harvest it in the fall, and winter squash means that it stays well in the winter. So it's a good winter storage squash versus a summer squash. So summer squash are like zucchini, a crookneck yellow squash. Those are all perfect. So you eat those when they're young, tender babies, right? The small, tender, really good. That way they juice really well. So those summer squash, you're going to wait until they get to full maturity. So you're going to leave one summer squash on the vine, let it get to full size. When it gets to full size, it won't be to a size that you want to eat. It'll kind of look rough, right? You could even leave it on there until the plant dies, almost till it's like to the moldy point, right? It's really, really big. Because when you cut it open, then you're going to have big plump seeds inside. Because we eat summer squash when it's a baby, when it's young and tender. That same process is how you're going to save cucumber seeds. You're going to leave one cucumber on there until it gets really big, past the point where you'd want to use it. You know, we've all had the zucchini that gets way too big. Leave one of those on there, and it's going to produce you a lot of big, beautiful seeds. So basically, winter squash, which would fall into the acorn, butternut, pumpkin category, you're going to cut it open, scoop the seeds out, rinse them, dry them, save them. Dry them on a paper plate for at least 2 weeks, then put them in a paper envelope in a cool, dark place, and you'll have seeds for a very long time. Lettuce. Okay, next we're going to talk about lettuce. If you've ever grown lettuce and it does something called bolting, you know, where it shoots the long stalk up, and then it gets all the little seed pods that come off. They kind of look like little bean pods, but miniature. That happens with arugula. It happens with leaf lettuce. It happens with kale. You'll see it shoots up the stalk and then it hangs down. So when that happens, let the stalk grow until it's dead and dry, and then each one of those pods is going to give you a harvest of a lot of lettuce seed. It's really a great way to save seed, and then you'll have plenty of seed to share with friends and family. Let's talk about beans. Beans are my favorite topic. Anyone who knows me knows I love to talk about beans. So what do we have in the seed library right now as far as free seeds? We have aldehyde. I'm sure I'm not saying that right. My personal preference, and I'm sure I have some in here, are... Oh, here we go. These are my favorite. I put these in here from my own garden. Rattlesnake pole beans. So, there's two main kinds of beans. There's pole beans and bush beans. So, I even put right on the back. Then you can eat these as a green bean or as a dry bean, because we grow pole beans and bush beans, and most people grow pole beans and bush beans to eat as tender young green beans. But did you know that you can eat these as tender young green beans, or you could plant these, leave them in the ground, let them grow until the end of their life cycle, until they're dead and dry on the vine, pull the whole plant, put it in your garage in a basket, let it dry out, and now you have some beautiful little pinto beans. Now the dried pinto beans you would eat any way you would eat dry beans, you know, ham and beans, bean soup, anything like that, refried beans. This is true for black beans, white beans, kidney beans, and most importantly, you can buy the beans at the grocery store, the dry beans, and they're going to be bush beans, okay? So just know that if you buy beans from the grocery store, if they germinate because they were grown in this country, you know, do a germination test, find out if they're going to be viable. If they are, like say you buy a big bag of dry kidney beans, right? Put a couple of them in a wet paper towel in a Ziploc bag, leave it on your counter. If they burst open and start growing, that's a germination test. That means they have germinated, so they can be planted in the ground. So take the rest of that bag of kidney beans and plant them. Nice little rows wherever you have free space in your garden. They're going to get about 1 foot to 2 foot tall, stand up on their own. The beans are going to grow. The pods are going to die and dry when they get to the end of their life cycle, and then you're going to have kidney beans inside. So basically, the only thing you're doing is planting them and harvesting them. Couldn't be easier. Those are bush beans. Pole beans are, I like even better, because pole beans, you're planting them, and then you're letting them climb up the vine, right? They need a trellis, they need a fence, they need pour trailing, they need something they can climb up, like Jack and the Beanstalk. They're going to climb up, and you can either eat them as green beans, or you're going to eat them as pole beans. So when you start looking at beans, see how these specifically say rattlesnake pole beans, so that people know that they are a pole bean, they're not a bush bean, because you're going to plant them someplace different. I'm going to plant these, next to a post that they can climb up and circle around, or I'm going to plant them next to my fencing. The other ones can be out in the middle of a field, and as long as they're planted, they're going to grow up. Beans. Buy them once, save them for life, give them to everyone you know, eat them. Beans, beans, beans. The perfect food. Also, high in protein, easy to grow, tastes great. You can eat them as a green bean, you can eat them as a sprout, you can eat them as a dry bean, like a pinto, kidney, things like that. So, hope that answers all your questions on beans. I have a lot to say more on it, but I'm going to stop there. And I'll do another one on flowers and herbs. Another little talk so that these videos aren't too terribly long and boring. Let me know what you think.